how we can work together. Example of a network of networks called REAMP, and they are working in the upper Midwest of the United States on climate change, and they're trying to lower emissions. And they found out that uh, they finally decided the work that they were doing, which was shutting down dirty coal plants, that seems really reasonable, right? But when they did a system map, they realized that that was actually making the problem worse. That what was happening is that these coal plants were shutting down, and the communities were building new coal plants that were only a little bit cleaner, just enough to pass the guidelines, and were going to last for a really long time. That strategy really wasn't helping to shift the system to healthier forms of energy production. And so they did a system map and they realized, oh, we can see 4 different places where if we focus efforts, we can really start shifting the system. And so they started stopping new power plants from being built and working on alternative energy. But they realized that they couldn't do it. A single organization could not work on all of this at once. And so, next slide. So, what they did is they created a whole set of networks. And the idea is that, with a pulley, think about a pulley. Like if you use a pulley, you can pull down on it and you can lift here 100 kilograms. But if you combine loosely 3 different pulleys, all of a sudden you can lift 4 times the amount. And so that's the idea of networks, just give us so much more power and capacity. Next slide. So what they did was that they formed state networks, and those state networks would get together and figure out, oh, what's changed in our state so that we can see the opportunities for change in our state. And then the regional network, the REAMP network, began to coordinate networks to work from all the states to work on each of these leverage points or opportunity spaces that they identified. And they've had tremendous success. But then they realized after a number of years, oh, what about all these marginalized communities, communities of color, low-income communities, indigenous communities? They're suffering from the current coal production energy more. They're in more cities that are more polluted. They're not getting access to alternative energy. And so they went outside their current network to other networks, such as the Midwest Environmental Justice Network and the Indigenous Indian Collective. And they also began networking with communities on the ground, and they formed another network that's called the Great Lakes Environmental Justice Thriving Communities Network. So you see that even people who think they're a network are really this kind of messy bunch of networks of networks. And so think about your network that you're involved in, and is it really a network of networks? Is it really overlapping with other network efforts?